Hi there, today, not a positive diary entry. Today I'm gonna talk about something that has been on my mind for like forever. Hi cat. Meow. For a long time this has been like irking me. I kind of felt like, how do I say, like those ghosts that cannot like go on to the dead world just because they have something that's like holding them back down. That's how I felt for a long time. And I thought, well, maybe I should finally talk about it. And I think if I talk about it, I'll be actually able to move on. Because for a long time I felt silence, for a long time I felt like, I was crying over this for like over a year. So, yeah. A lot of people have been wondering why I have left the band. What were my reasons? Because to a lot of people it was like so sudden, like what happened. So when I did leave the band, I never spoke out about it because I was like, well, who's gonna believe me anyways? Like, whatever. But I have been crying about this for over a year. So at this point, why should I let them, how do I say, have the comfort while I'm having emotional torment for a year? The only way I stopped, how do I say, getting so worked up about this was when I went to full-on psych ward. So what happened? Why did I leave the band? Well, long story short, pretty like very unhappy in relationship. Just like very unhappy, how do I say, time for me. Even though I really loved my fans, I really loved performing. It was something I loved, but over time I cracked under pressure of the relationship and I just left. So what happened? So while I was in the band, well, I was new to music. I didn't know anything about music, and all of us were newbies in the band except our guitarist, and our guitarist was kind of like our mentor and like pushing us to do something, yeah. And everything was fine for a while, but over time he developed feelings for me, and I was like really like, how do I say, really like uncomfortable, and I really didn't have like space to like say no, because, well, he was my mentor, he was like someone I looked up to. I didn't want to trade all my music, like all the stuff that I have like written, just because I'm rejecting a guy. He started to act really creepy towards me. He started groping me, even though I like pushed him away, even though I was like, no, don't do that. Like, for example, one time we had band practice, and this guy, he's like, hey, like, can I come over to your like house because I'm too tired to come to my house? I'm like, okay, yeah. And, well, he comes over to my house, and I'm like, well, it's like whatever, it's like my bandmate, yeah. So my bandmate, the guitarist, he like sleeps next to me, but he starts groping me like straight up. He like just like was very creepy towards me. He was constantly trying to grope me. He was trying constantly to have like sex with me, even though I was not into him like that. Like I was sleeping. He was like trying to grope me. Every time he would like grope me, I would like go more away. He would like just scooch like closer. I would like go away again. He would scooch closer. I felt really comfortable. I went to the bathroom and I was like panicking. I was like, what the fuck am I supposed to do? My roommate is sleeping. I don't want to wake up my roommate because she will be pissed. I woke her up. I don't fucking know what to do. So I was sitting there, I was like, fuck. And it's also my bandmate. I'm like stuck. What am I supposed to do? So I just went back, tried to ignore him and sleep. So yeah, constantly I was being like pretty much sexually assaulted. I was just being like groped all the time, even though I did not like it. He would like try to grope me, and I would constantly like try to scooch away, try to like turn away. Just. And one time, eventually, we were walking home. I didn't leave because, well, it was my project. I'm not gonna like, how do I say, leave something that I worked really hard for over personal feelings. Because I like put in so much effort into the band. I put in so much like effort into making the logo, making the, how do I say, the lyrics, the singing, just all of it, the appearance. But the relationship with the guitarist, I'm just like, whatever, just ignore it. Yeah. Then we were walking home one day. He was like drunk at a bar or something, and well, that's my bandmate. I'm like, okay, I'll take you home. So I'm taking him home, and he says stuff like, we have to be together. You can't say no. We have to be together. You have to be my girlfriend. Also, I fell out of love with him easily, so yeah, you have to be my girlfriend. I'm like, I was like, fuck, what am I supposed to do? So what I ended up doing, how do I get out of this? Yeah, I was thinking, how do I get out of this? So what I said, I was like, okay, how about this? When our band has our first concert, if you still have feelings by then, sure, let's be together. Because we were only playing for maybe 1 month, 2 months. You need to play for at least half a year, if not more, just to have your first concert. And he was like, yeah, deal. And I was like, well, it's gonna be like forever, it's gonna be months. So by then, probably he won't like me as much anymore, so it's fine. Yeah, whatever. Then when he, how do I say, heard the deal, he started to try to rush the band. He started to try to get us to write songs faster, and he decided that we're gonna play on his festival that he's making. I'm like, okay, fine. Let's do it. I mean, even though I'm not very like fond of the situation I'm gonna put myself in, on a good note, at least the band is moving forward. The project that I really wanted to see to end is like going to end. So I ended up, well, performing, and well, I did make the promise, so I had to keep up my like deal. So I was like, yeah, okay, we're together now. Yahoo! I tried to, even though I did not really like him, I tried to be a good girlfriend. I tried to, how do I say nice stuff to him. I tried to be very like positive. I tried to be very cheerful. I somewhat tried to be romantic. So I kept up my end of the deal, even though it was not mutual. He's happy that he's in a relationship with me. I'm happy that my band is like succeeding. That So at the time I was living with my roommate, as I told in the story. I was later like, I forgot to mention, I was talking to my roommate. I was saying like, oh well, like it's like making me so uncomfortable. I don't know what to do. It's my bandmate, but also like he's so creepy towards me. I'm very like conflicted. What am I supposed to do? I'm in a situation that I'm stuck in. So yeah, I'm living with my roommate at the time. First red flags were even on the first day of the relationship. So the event he was hosting in, the festival, I was very, how do I say, like made uncomfortable because of his like not employees, but like, sorry, it's hard to translate in my head. because of his like festival like workers. I was like seeing that one girl like was being groped, and I was like, hey, like, can you like help her? Like, this guy is like very creepy. Like, can you kick this guy out? And the worker, instead of helping me, she was like, she probably asked for it just like you with your outfit. So I was like, what the hell? Anyway, so I felt really like embarrassed, and I like went home crying. And I told him about it, and he was like, well, she's like not doing anything, so like it's fine. So I went like, I was really uncomfortable, I just went home and cried. First day of the relationship, I should have seen the signs, I guess. Then, yeah, everything as usual. Eventually, he offers me to live at his house, so I'm like, okay, let's do it. I'm like working 12-hour shifts now. I've like found a job recently. Yeah, I started living with him, and there were slight red flags, but I was just like ignoring them. I was like, well, my end of the deal. He, for example, was very like cruel to his mom, even though his mom was like extremely nice to him. She was always like offering to like cook for him, like cleaning his like laundry, helping him clean, anything he wanted. Like the mom would like, how do I say, be very helpful for him. So I was like, what the hell? Why are you so mean to your like mom? Like, especially because I guess I came from an abusive family, so seeing someone like that has a nice mom, he was like cruel to her, it was like very odd to me. And also when I just started dating him, his like own fucking sister was like, I'm sorry for you. I'm genuinely sorry for you. And I was like, okay, I'll just try to ignore that, yeah, like, still, we play in the same band, my end of the bargain, yeah. Yeah, everything was somewhat fine until a point where when I was trying to be a good girlfriend. I was like buying snacks for both of us. I was like trying to get us to watch movies. I was trying to make him laugh. I was like giving compliments to him and so on. I was not like a bad girlfriend. But the first like huge red flags was when how do I say, well, if groping wasn't a red flag enough, the one thing was that I became straight edge, if you remember, some of you remember, because I just wanted to quit drinking. I just like did not find it enjoyable anymore. And I was, how do I say, very humble about it. I did not really care if like people cared that I'm straight edge, but I'm just like, well, I'm straight edge, so. I quit being straight edge because of him. Why? Well, the thing was that as soon as he saw that I was doing it, he wanted to do it too, and I was like, okay. And he did in a way that made me very like, I guess, disgusted, because I think real straight edge people are those that just do it for themselves. They do it, you know, to, how do I say, better their health, like nothing that special. They're not like flaunting it constantly. But he used it as an opportunity to constantly say that he was like better than everyone else. That like, oh, like everyone's drinking, but I'm not drinking, so I'm like better than everyone else. Everyone else is like so like stupid and like unintelligent and all of that. And that made me, how do I say, really like uncomfortable. That made me lose interest in what I was doing for myself, because I was like, I don't like, first of all, having this thing forced onto me now. Second of all, I don't want to be grouped into that, into the type of people that like are like, oh, I'm better than everyone else. I don't want that. As soon as he started acting like that he was like better than everyone else, as soon as he was like, you know, how do I say, just like putting down others with his like straight edgeness, I did not want to be grouped in that. As soon as he was doing that, I wanted to quit being straight edge. just so I'm not grouped into that, because I was like, what the fuck. So it's my day off. I'm working 12-hour shifts, right? But it's my day off for the first time in a while. I have nothing else planned. I have no plans. I'm a working adult, yeah. And I'm home alone. I'm like, you know what? Fuck it. Let me lose my straightness today. I'll get intoxicated, you know. I don't care anymore. So I get intoxicated, right? And this man comes home, and I kid you not, he starts, how do I say, freaking out. He's like throwing every insult in the book at me. He's like, how could you do this? You ruined everything. You ruined my day today. You're a bad person. You're an addict. You're this and that. You can never like be clean again. You can never be like, how do I say, sober. You are like so bad. You can never be straight edge again. You're like the worst person ever. And I was obviously bawling my eyes out. I was almost losing my mind, because like, imagine you're dating someone and they say all those things to you. I was losing my mind. I was like going through like 3 stages of breakup. I was like bawling my eyes out. I was like, how could I like ever date someone that would like say those things to me? And I would cry. One point when I stopped crying, I like, you know, I look over to him. He's like, I started crying again, and he's like, oh, why are you crying? You're crying again. So fucking stupid. Stop fucking crying. So fucking annoying. Go to fucking sleep. And I'm like bawling my eyes out. I get zero comfort. I feel very distressed. I think I'm gonna lose my mind, because I realize I'm stuck in a situation with a guy that like does not have good intentions for me. So that everything was fine for a while. We were playing with the band, and things were looking somewhat fine. I didn't hold it against him that he was like so cruel to me that time, because I was like, well, I was intoxicated. Maybe I made it all up. Maybe it was all in my head. Maybe he had like a good reason to be mad at me, right? Because like, maybe I'm just dramatic. Maybe I'm like making this stuff up. That was how it like sounded in my head when it wasn't that way. Then half a year in the band comes up, and we almost finished an album. We finished an album. Beautiful, amazing. We saved up enough money to record our first we recorded our first album. So we basically go to the city of Valmiera, and we are recording our album. I don't know if you know, I guess if you have been in a band and recorded music before, you know that usually during recording most people are very grumpy. That's like normal. Everyone was hungry, everyone was very grumpy. People were grumpy that they had to do so many takes to like record their stuff. And you know, general like grumpiness, that's like normal. Like for example, we were recording. I also had the grumpiness, you know. And what made me grumpy that day was that I had like a brilliant idea for the album cover, and they were saying like, no, let's scrap that, we want this album cover. And I was like kind of like sad, because it's like, oh, I really like loved this idea, I really wanted this idea. But I was like, you know, that's like my own personal feelings, like that is like not what everyone else thinks, so like suck it up. So I was like, you know, like that is like, not everything is gonna go my way, and that's like okay. I will just go like sleep this grumpiness out, and that's it. And I like didn't come downstairs with them, because I was like, well, I'll just, you know, I'll get over it, and then I'll come like hang out with them. So I go to sleep, and they were like, yeah, hey, like come over, like talk with us, like, you know. I'm like, no, like leave me alone for now, like I don't want to hang out. And because I was like telling them to like leave me alone, like that I'm like not in a good mood, even though I was just like doing that so I don't like lash out, I don't like say something like bad, I was like doing that to like cool off and then come back and then like, you know, be friendly again, be like nice again. And I didn't even like, when I said I didn't want my idea, I didn't even say anything. I was like, oh, okay, I really like that idea though, it's okay. I didn't even lash out. But somehow, because I went to sleep and I was like, hey guys, leave me alone, I'll like talk to you later. Because of that, for some reason, the bassist started to hate me, and I don't understand why. Just because I went to sleep and I was like, hey guys, leave me alone. I'm still confused how, but that happened. And because of that, she started to hate me, and I was like, okay. Anyway, so we finished the album. Everything is fine. We get home. Yeah, another thing about the bassist, I was like paying for her. Let's talk about the financial situation. I was paying for her like practice room, like fee. I was paying it from my pocket because, well, she was like, oh, I'm just a teenager, like I cannot like afford it. I was like, well, it's fine. I'm the only one with a job in the band, by the way. I'm like, it's fine, like I'll pay for you, like as long as you just pay the bass, like it's whatever, I'll pay. And I was like, well, like I like her, like it's fine, like I don't mind. So that. And by that time also I moved into my first apartment. So this apartment I'm still in the same apartment. And I have my first job. I moved into this apartment and I'm like moving in, and well, my boyfriend at the time, the guitarist, he's like, I will live with you. I'm like, you don't have to, it's like fine, like I think it's like even better that way because we both have our own spaces. I have my space that I can decorate how I want. You can have your space that you can make how you want. And I also think like we wouldn't be really compatible with our like living styles, if you know what I mean. Like for example, I work like night shifts, he went to school during daytime. And for example, he's like a very, very cleanly person. I'm not very cleanly, as you can see by my background. So I was like, hey, like I think it's like even better to like live separately. Not any like bad intention meant. I just think it's like it would be better. It's like, no, I will live at your house, and it doesn't matter. We will live the way you want. We will just live the way you want. It doesn't matter how I want to live. I'm like, okay, sure, let's do that. So he's living at my house. I pay the rent, and he was like, okay, I'll like pay the kommunale. So I thought it's more fair for him because, well, he didn't have a job for a long time. So I was like, well, the communal expenses are like what, 150 a month. For me, my like expenses were around 500. So I was paying for the rent 350, and I was like buying food. So 30, 40 every week, give or take. So that plus like, I don't know, my medications, anything else. So that. And so he starts living at my place, and immediately we start having like, how to say, issues. Not very huge ones so far. Like for example, there was a thing where he was like really annoyed that I'm not a very cleanly person, and I was like, well, it's like fine, like we were just like raised differently. Like if you need your space to be that clean, like you can do it yourself, but I'm not really like used to it myself. And yeah, he was like very like annoyed that I didn't like do the same things his mom did for him. He was like annoyed that I had issues with this like company that was like supposed to give me my washing machine. He was like angry and like lashing out about it, and I was like, bro, like your mom lives nearby, just if you need your clothes to be clean, like take your clothes and like go take them to your mom's house and like clean them. He was like, oh, no, like just do it, like why can't you do it? I was like, okay. So that I took a kitten in. As you know, this cat, when I moved into my apartment at first, I spent all my food money just to buy this cat here, yeah. Because I was like, well, it's something I have wanted like forever, to have like my own cat. And I think it would also like really uplift me mentally because, well, kind of like emotional support, I guess, as an animal. So I took my cat, the one that's here. I don't know if you can see. And he was really like cruel to my cat, and I was like, what the hell? And he was like, for example, the cat was like purring and like going up to him and like, how do I say, just snuggling. I don't know how to explain. He was like, you know, like petting my like boyfriend at the time, and he was like, he's so annoying. Get him away from. Like, for example, he would be purring. He'd be like over here, and he would be like purring. He'd be like, can you shut him up? That is so fucking annoying. I can't stand that noise. Can you shut him up? I'm like, whoa, like, he's just purring. Like, what's wrong with you? And he would be like, this cat cannot sleep in our room. I hate when he sleeps with us. He's like so annoying. I'm like, bro, it's just a kitten. It's literally like, what, like 5 months old. And and he would like constantly like lash out at the cat. He would always be like angry at cat, and like no matter like how like angry he was at my pet, I was like, it's like whatever. Even though I was really nice to his pet, even though I didn't like his pet, he was very cruel to mine. I was like, whatever, like, don't listen, cat. Like, I was like, you know, I was always like comforting him. I was like really nice to him. He like, for example, he always like called him like dirty, just because he was like doing cat things. Like, I don't know, he like went under the bed. He's like, that cat is so fucking disgusting. He's so filthy and dirty. Like, I fucking hate him. Just deal with him yourself. I'm like, bro, like, I never made you deal with him. Like, just like, what's wrong with you? Why are you so mean to the fucking cat? He's just being a cat. Yeah. So that was a thing. But I guess he like grew on him over time, and he stopped being like somewhat like that mean to the cat. Overall, in the relationship, he was very like, how do I say, fine until we recorded our album. So what happened? We had our presentation concert for the album. We also had like merch, like promised to the fans, because fans were asking, they were like, please, like, will we have like any merch? Like, we really want some merch. We're like, okay, we will do it. So we're making merch. I'm the only one with a job, so I put down money for the shirts. The shirts were like 200 euros. Everyone else was like, nobody had a job, so they were like, the drummer was like making patches, and the guitarist was making CDs, and the bassist, well, since she was a minor, we were like it's okay, just like make a design, make one Photoshop image. One Photoshop image is like not too hard to do, especially if you have like been into design at all. You know that making one Photoshop image takes like 3 hours max, barely like any time. So yeah, just like make one Photoshop image, like not that hard. You have a whole month to do it. Like, yeah, okay, that works. She did not do it, and I obviously got kind of angry, because I put in all that money for the shirts only for you to not make a design. So I'm literally just wasting money on the shirts. And I was like, I felt so like, how do I say, uzmas in Latvian, I forgot what's the name. Well, maybe I'll translate it, but I felt so like, how do I say, taken aback. Like, I was really annoyed. I was like, come on, like, we cannot make the shirts anymore just because like you wasted all this time. And then she was like, cut is pushing me too hard. Bro, I asked you to make one Photoshop image that takes maximum 3 hours to do. It usually takes like, what, 2, maybe 1. What's the issue? And then she was like, Kata is pressuring me too hard. That's it. I'm leaving. I'm like, what? And me and my like drummer, we like looked at each other. We were like, okay, I guess. I mean, she was a temporary bassist, so she could leave anytime she wanted to. So we're like, okay. Me and my drummer, we were like, well, we did see this like coming eventually, because, well, temporary bassist, like, I guess it's fine. If she wants to leave, she can leave. Meanwhile, she starts like dramatically, like, how do I say, DMing like my boyfriend at the time in paragraphs. She's like, how like fucking dare you like not beg me to come back, like you're so cool, guys, like I can't believe you like didn't beg me to come back. And when Kata said she wanted to go away because of her like work stress, you like didn't let her like go away. You know, like when I wanted to leave the band, they didn't let me leave the band too. That was also quite a big thing for a while. But and she was like, where's the same attitude towards me, guys? Ah, you're so cruel because you didn't do the same thing for me. Even though she was a temporary basis, not a permanent like member. Guys, you're so cruel. Kata is a villain. She was like writing paragraphs like that to my like boyfriend at the time. Kata is a villain. I'm just a child with a dream. How fucking like dare you take this away from me? Kata is like a villain. Kata is like so evil, and like all of that, like whole like paragraphs to him. And because of that, my boyfriend got turned against me. I could not prove it, but I could see it in his like actions. For example, as soon as I noticed that, I tried to break up with him. He was, I kid you not, it was my birthday. I took him to a spa with me. That like my mom gave us a ticket to the spa. She's trying to be a good mom, and I'm like an adult now. It's like kind of odd, but she gave us a ticket to the spa, and I took him with him because like took me with him because like he's my boyfriend, yeah. So I take him with me to the spa, and I'm like, we're like eating this like fancy food, and I'm like, hey, like you're being like very distant, like what's going on with you? You're like constantly looking at your phone, you're like crying. He's like, it's whatever, you know, don't mind it. And he's like bawling his eyes out. He's like, just more on the like, I feel so sad, like she's just a child with a dream. I'm like, okay. Let's go to the room. And while I'm in the room, I'm like getting dressed, he's like telling me like how much of a villain I am, how like evil I am. Like overall in the whole like experience on my birthday was like really bad because he was constantly telling me like mean stuff. He was telling me like how much of a bad person I am constantly, even though he's like my own boyfriend. I'm like whatever. And I'm like crying on my own birthday. And yeah, it's just like fucked up. I'm like bawling my eyes out. And clearly the only way he was like attracted to me was in like a physical way, because he was always like very cruel to me. Any like interest I ever had, he would like bully my interests. So I forgot to mention, so at the ceremony, yeah, so the ceremony happens for the album reveal, and during the ceremony I might be like, maybe I'm like making this up, maybe I had like my own view of the situation, yeah, but well, it was very tense there. And how do I say, I'm like walking around the venue, I'm just like trying to enjoy the opening, yeah, everyone's like congratulating me, everything is like fine. I look over and I see like my bassist at the time like talking to the guitarist, and she's like talking, and I'm like, well, it's like whatever, like nobody's like not allowing them to talk, like it's fine. Then she like hugs him, and she sees me while hugging him, and she has this like, how do I say, like evil look on her face. I don't know, maybe I just saw it that way, but he was looking at me like, I don't know, it's just, it was weird to me. It was like, I felt like my own boyfriend was like turned against me, because since then he was like always calling me a villain, he was like always cruel to me. And clearly I did not want to be with someone that's like cruel to me, that like doesn't like believe in my side and doesn't like see me as a good person. Why the fuck would I be with someone like that? Same day after like the concert ends, I asked him to break up. He's like, where is this like coming out of, like, you're so dramatic, like, no, you're so like crazy, like, no, let's not break up. I'm like, but like, you're so like cruel to me, like, you don't believe me, you always like treat me like a villain. He's like, no, we're not breaking up. I'm like, so that was the first time I tried to break up with him. And overall, the whole relationship, since that day, he was like very cool to me. Like, he would, how do I say, not well, treat me kindly. He would like constantly criticize me, constantly say cruel stuff to me. He would always tell me I'm a bad person, I'm a villain. He would say that my hobbies are cringe and that like my hobbies are bad and that I'm very like, how do I say, embarrassing. And he said like my singing was bad, my performance was bad. Like, even though I was considered a good singer in the music scene at the time, I felt very insecure about myself. I felt very like little. I felt very like constantly sad. I felt constantly depressed, constantly anxious. I felt always on my toes because always I would get like criticism. I would get like you're a bad person. The things you like are bad. The way you dress is bad. The way you sing is bad. The lyrics I don't like. The performance is bad. Everything is bad. You're a bad person. You are so like insensitive. You're like so bad. Constantly. And I don't know, it just, I wanted to break up with him all the time. I tried to break up with him all the time. Every time I said like, I'm breaking up with you, he would be like, stop this, like, you're so like, he's like, you're crazy, you don't know what you're talking about. Or if I tried to break up with him, like, he would like, how do I say, I hate using these terms, but like straight up gaslighting me. He would like, how do I say, break up with him, and he just ignored that I ever broke up with him. Continues to be my boyfriend, continues to go like live at my house and everything. Just ignores it completely every time. I'm turning insane. He would also always like, how do I say, well, as I said, he was like always like making me feel small. He also had like anger issues. Like, he would like, for example, I don't know, he broke a cup, yeah. He would like start yelling when he's like, what, are you fucking stupid? What's wrong with you? Like, clean the fucking thing up. Like, what's wrong with you? Because well, I was like, you know, I know I broke a cup. I was like thinking like, oh, like, how could I clean this? Like, what are you fucking stupid? Why are you fucking standing? What's fucking wrong with you? Like, constantly I was like getting, I guess, harassment. I was constantly like just being like bullied. I was like, it felt like just dating like a bully. It felt like dating your like worst enemy, but you cannot like prove it, like, you cannot prove it to anyone because, well, it's, how do I say, emotional. You cannot like prove to someone that like, oh, like, he said those things to me because, well, it's not something you can see. How do I say, like, if he was like beating me, yeah, it would be like easy to see. I could be like show, like, here are the bruises, like, you know, this happened. But when it's with the emotional stuff, it's like very hard to, how do I say, talk about them because, first of all, just your word against theirs, and like, second of all, it's like, if it's your boyfriend, people believe you even less because like, oh, like, if it's your boyfriend, then like, it's just like lovers quarrel and stuff, like, just, you know, relationship stuff, like, oh, like, they're just dramatic. It's just like, you know, lovers like fighting. So I was very like, how do I say, for a long time I didn't want to come up with this out. I didn't want to come out with this story for a long time just because of that, because I thought, well, nobody is gonna believe me just because I was dating him. And I just felt like, yeah, I felt like I didn't have the mental capacity at the time to come out with my story because, well, who's gonna believe me if I say something he said, but I have like no like physical proof. I have no proof of, like, you know, I have no bruises, I have no physical proof to show you. So really, I'm just making this video for like myself so I can move on from this situation, because I couldn't move on from the situation for a really long time. I ended up going to the psych ward and like getting medicated and everything because of the situation. It's fucked up. Sorry. So he was like really cruel to me for a long time. Literally any person that was around me knew that I was trying to break up with him. I think even my bandmates like saw that I was trying to break up with him. And they thought like I was joking too for some reason. And they're like, oh, Kata, you're so dramatic, like, haha. And I genuinely did try to break up with him. Every time I told him I want to break up with him, I was serious, dead serious, every time. And yeah, he was like just very cruel to me constantly. Like, I felt crazy all the time. He made me feel crazy constantly. I don't know how to explain unless you have been in a situation like that. Anything you say, they make you feel like you're crazy. I'm like, hey, I feel like really bad, like I need like comfort. He's like, you're fucking crazy, you don't know what you're fucking talking about, you're just like so fucking crazy. Like, I'm like, oh, like I have like mental illness. And he's like, no, you don't fucking have any mental illness, you're like fucking liar. And for example, I don't know, anything, you would just be called a liar. Anything, you would just be like told you're crazy. I was constantly told I was crazy, like I don't know what I'm talking about, I don't know what I'm talking about. And it just like really like made my mental health go. A lot of times when I was, for example, going to work, my work would end 12-hour shifts, by the way. He was making me do music on top of 12-hour shifts, but I was like, I guess it's fine because, well, first of all, I need money, second of all, the music like matters quite a lot to me. So that, and yeah, basically very like unhappy relationship. I wanted to leave constantly. I was like trying to break up with him. Every time I tried to break up with him, he would be like either ignoring what I said or just thinking I'm like lying and I'm just like joking. I constantly felt crazy. And after my shifts, for example, I would like finish my 12-hour shift. I would just like sit on the bench outside because I did not want to go home that badly, because I knew there was someone like in my own space, in my own house, that did not wish anything well for me. Or sometimes, I think it was during the winter time even, I would just like go on walks outside to like cool off. Like I felt very like suicidal, and he just like made it even worse. So I just like went outside in winter and went to the cemetery, and I laid down and I just pretended I was dead because I was so unhappy with my life. So just like not standing there, but like laying down in the snow in the cemetery next to like gravestones, and I was just pretending I was dead until like my fingers are freezing off. I felt like, how do I say, until I was like kind of like almost dizzy from the cold, until like everything hurt from the cold. Only then I would like come home, until like I almost got frostbite. And he would think I was cheating while I was like laying in the cemetery. I know I sound like a fucking like lunatic about like the things I have done to like cope, but yeah, I was also like, you have maybe you have noticed, but I was like always like constantly also drinking heavily just so I can like cope with all the like, how to say, with the relationship, also with like the criticisms, especially during concerts. Anytime I would go on stage, I would like, at first I started drinking just to like, how do I say, ease anxiety I had during this big festival, because well, it was like a lot of people, so full that like people couldn't even come in. So I was just like drinking like 2 shots, and I was like, yeah, this is for like how do I say, for braveness, yeah. And that, but he would constantly like how do I say, criticize me every time we went to a show. I would constantly get like insults about like myself. I would get insults about like, oh, you were performing really badly, you were singing really badly, you didn't know lyrics this and lyrics that, and you were always like really bad, you're the worst vocalist ever I have ever seen, you're like so bad. And I was honestly just like, a lot of times I was drinking just to, first of all, how do I say, hit off the stress. I was drinking heavily just to, how do I say, mm, to cope with the criticism, because if I was like drinking heavily, at least the criticism like didn't like land like straight at me. It was like, you know, like something you could like ignore because like you're drunk. And yeah, overall, very unhappy time. What made it worth it, all of that suffering to me every time, was the fans. Even though I was like constantly like suffering, I was mentally tormented every single day. What like made it worth it was like meeting the fans after shows and like talking to them, and them like talking about how much I love my stuff, and how do I say, giving like autographs, or they would give me gifts sometimes. Nothing too crazy, like bracelets, like something cute, and just like it felt so like rewarding to like be loved by people. It felt so rewarding to be loved by people, to have people that like love your stuff, to people that love your art, people that how do I say, appreciate you, and all of that. And I guess in a way, I'm, how do I say, I'm like a sponge. I suck up all the love, and for a moment I can feel happy too. And that was like really worth to me, because my whole life I felt very like unloved. I felt very like embarrassing. I felt very like just like pushed away. And to have like fans, to have people that like were really, that really loved your music, that loved everything you did, it just made me felt really loved for the first time. So that, sorry, it's like a bittersweet memory. But yeah, very unhappy. Try to break up constantly. Then, after all of those like terrible, how do I say, months of being together, something even like worse happened. I suddenly got pregnant. Worst timing ever. Also, how? Because I was using a contraceptive method. I think it's called contraceptive method. Well, yeah. Just like failed contraceptive method. And also, how do I say, worst timing ever, because I was in a relationship with a man I did not love at all. I already like felt like I broke up with him on that, like, how do I say, day that like he betrayed me. Ever since then I haven't felt a single thing for him. And just like being stuck in the situation was like the worst. And also that was like during the summer, yeah. We went on tour, which is like, yahoo, great, yeah. But I had to leave my job just so I can, how do I say, go on the tour. And I thought like, oh, like I pretty much like paid for this man for like a year straight. I think it should be like fine if he like, you know, how do I say, split stuff for like 3 months. Like it's fine. This man straight up, he's not very helpful. He's very like holding it against me that I do not help him financially. He's holding it against me that he has to like buy food now, even though like he has a job and everything and I don't. I still like pay for half of the stuff. It's fucked up. And during the last month, yeah, very fucked up month in general. So it's fucked up because, first of all, how do I say, I have no job. Second of all, I'm pregnant. Abortion alone costs a month's worth of salary. I kid you not. 400 euros. I don't have any money. I don't have a job. I'm like fucking most depressed person ever. I'm trying to kill myself constantly. My boyfriend is an asshole. My boyfriend cheats on me. How I found out? I was like just like on Instagram, like, you know, any other day. I was on Instagram, and then one of my like mutuals, she texts me, she's like, are you like still together with him? I'm like, yeah, why? And she sends me a screenshot of him on Tinder, and I'm like, what the hell? And so I just feel like extremely depressed. I'm about to be homeless. I'm pregnant. I don't have a job. My boyfriend just cheated on me. I'm alone. I have no family. It's like the worst time of my life ever. You know, I try to break up with him. I break up with him actually. How do I say? I was gonna like try to get money for the abortion myself, but since we have broken up, I make him pay the full price because, well, we're not dating anymore. Like, what's the point now? Also, I have no job. I need to find, how do I say, money for rent now. My drummer like invites me over. She's like, it's fine, you know, let's hang out. I feel very depressed. The same day I was like trying to kill myself. I was like, how do I say, trying to poison myself, but I ended up vomiting everything up because I felt too bad for the cat. So thank you to the cat. Very cute. What? And I vomited everything up, and I was like, fine, let me just go to a friend's house. I guess I just need to see a friend. So I go to my drummer's house, we hang out. She's like, you know, it's okay, it's fine. Like, we get like tortillas. Yeah, so I'm like very depressed. I come back home. He's like, no, like, take me back. Like, I'm sorry I cheated on you. I'm like, I'm not in a situation where I can say no anyways. So I'm like, yeah, fine. Because any support is better than zero support in that situation, even if it's like bad support. So I'm like, okay, fine. So very depressed. I still have to go to concerts, like for example to different cities, and I'm like, I have this symptom I still have even after pregnancy. I have very like, how do I say, easy stomach. Like, I get nauseous extremely quick now still. I get on the car, I get nauseous, I vomit in the morning, I vomit in the car, I vomit at the venue. I think at the venue I vomited like 5 times before the show, just for a good measure too, so I don't vomit on stage. And even I think in photos you can see that I was like extremely like withered. Why I was withered? Because I was fucking pregnant and my life is fucking falling apart. It was a very depressing time for me overall. Like, I felt like my life was ruined. And I genuinely thought I was gonna die soon because, well, maybe I sound a little too dramatic, but I thought if this baby's not gonna die, I'm gonna die with it. So it's either me or both of us die. That was like my choice. Because I would rather kill myself than, well, give birth. I also was fucking homeless. I had no job. I had zero support. The fuck am I supposed to do? So, if I had an actual baby, I'd rather kill myself than like live like that in the situation I was in. So, I was like very depressed and like constantly like crying. I was like constantly like suicidal. I was like self-harming. I was like heavily drinking. I was hoping like, oh, maybe if like I heavily drink, maybe that like kills the baby. I was trying like any like fucking way to like induce a miscarriage at my house. I don't know how to explain. Just overall the whole situation very like mentally hard on you. Yeah, just like, yeah, my body was like constantly hurting. My body was like falling apart. I was like, my hair was falling out. I was like vomiting. I was in so much pain constantly, and just overall not a good time. Constantly nauseous. And I had to go on tour while all of that happens, and I had to like push myself to do stuff. Overall, yeah, like the whole like situation was like a big emotional torment, and I just like couldn't handle it anymore. Well, yeah, depressive time, just trying to kill myself, was suicidal, tried poisoning myself, tried falling down the stairs, tried punching myself, tried hot like water. Yes, I was on the table. Overall, not a fun time at all. Yeah, so I went on tour, even though I was like fucking dying. Anyone could see that I was extremely unhappy. I was always like really like, I looked very bittered all the time. Because of my situation was very difficult. And I just wanted to leave the situation. I wanted to leave everything behind. And I kid you not, I almost got like religious psychosis because I was sitting in the bath. I was like bawling my eyes out, like just like tears like running down my neck, like that type of like crying. I was bawling my eyes out. I was like pregnant, and I was just like please, like to the baby. I was begging to the baby. I was like, please, like leave me alone. Like if I must have you, I'll have you when I'm like 30, but I cannot afford to have you right now. I'm not in a situation to afford you right now. If you live, we both don't live, and it's like, sorry. Just, I have been through most of this in therapy, so most of it I can say pretty, how do I say, nonchalantly, I guess, except this one thing. Yeah, it's kind of like sore spot right now, because I know that a lot of like conservatives say like, oh, like abortion is so easy, women get abortion like every week. It's like one of the most like, how do I say, pregnancy and abortion is like one of the most like mentally scarring things you can go through, from my experience. So I got the abortion, and I was like, okay, like it looks like things are finally starting to turn up. I had like postpartum, yeah, sure, but I was like, now that I have an abortion, that means I have how do I say, a chance of life again. I have a chance to, how do I say, survive. I get a job, and I'm not pregnant anymore. It feels like life is going up a bit. So that was that. The abortion itself, again, extremely traumatizing. I know that conservatives say, oh, like abortion is so easy, like women are meant to give birth, like birth is so easy for women. That was the closest I have ever felt to death. I would not wish that, how do I say, experience upon like anybody. I felt so close to death, I called the ambulance even, and the ambulance said, we're not a taxi. Like a Latvian health system. We're not a taxi. And I just was there, lying on the floor, bleeding by myself, because I did ask my guitarist at the time, like, hey, can you like stay home and like help me? He was like, well, I do have a day off on that day. I was like, okay, good. He went away on that day, and I was home alone, and I was scared. I was trembling. I had 39 fever. I was in so much pain. My stomach was hurting, like basically birth contractions all over your like stomach. I was like bawling my eyes out. I was like extremely dizzy. I thought I was gonna die. I was hallucinating, just like I was vomiting up. I remember I was taking painkillers. I took it. I vomit. I take a new one. I vomit. Take a new one. I vomit. At one point, I'm on my last painkiller. I vomited up too. I'm looking for the painkiller in my own vomit so I can drink it again, because I was in so much pain. That one I ended up holding in finally, so at least that. But overall the situation was like traumatizing. It's like the closest I have ever felt to death, and I do not recommend that upon anybody. And even the Latvian system makes it like so difficult to even like get one. Even if like you're in a bad situation like me, you have no job, like you have like nothing, and just the abortion alone costs 400 euros. Truly traumatizing. It is terrible. Terrible for you mentally, terrible for you physically, like no worse thing than that, in my opinion. but yeah, and like scars you mentally. You're like, how do you say, you get like PTSD from that for like a while. I don't know, like, sure, I think for if you actually get a baby, at that point you have like maternal hormones and like, you know, it makes you forget the incident. I'm not sure from what I have heard, but for me I did not have that. There was like the most like PTSD inducing thing ever. But yeah, either way, I finally succeeded. I thought I have another chance at life. I have a job. I'm finally, how do I say, it's getting better. But I still had like very terrible relationship. Basically, he was like, even though we played in a feminist band, he was like very sexist also. Like he was saying stuff like, oh, like men are like the heads of the household and like men are better. Even though he was first of all living off my fruits of labor, my hard work to get this apartment, my hard work to like pay rent for this apartment for months, my hard work to get furniture in this apartment and everything else. And he was like constantly like, yeah, men are just like better than like women, and like men are the heads of the households. And I'm like, you were raised by a single mother. We both were raised by a single mother. What the hell? And yeah, there was like a thing that was like pushing me towards the edge. I was always like, every time he said anything like that, I was like, let's break up, because I play in a feminist band. What the hell? So that, and the last argument we had, I finally succeeded in breaking up with him. I was telling him we're breaking up as usual, and this time he actually took it seriously, so thankfully that, I think he finally lost feelings for me completely. I hope. I hope. And yeah, most of the time he was like, he didn't like me. He was always like cruel to me, as I told you. He was like always having this like look of disgust on his face, if you ever noticed, towards me. He only like, I think, liked me for my body, which is like fucked up, but I think that was the case. Last argument, he was telling me, you are like stupid, you will never be successful, you will never be smarter than me. And I just felt very like humiliated. I felt very like, how do you say, yeah, humiliated, like embarrassed. And I was like, let's break up. Why are you in my house? Then leave my house if you think that way. And we did end up breaking up. And I was like, okay, well, we finally broke up. Good thing, right? But what I did not expect was that the same day he came home and he tried to blackmail me. Because at first I was like, oh, like, it's okay, you can stay till like the end of the month, like it's fine. You can stay till the 10th date until you find a new apartment. But then the same day he came back home, he tried to blackmail me over what I did when I was like in that bad situation. This is gonna make me sound a villain. This one, yes, I admit I was wrong, I guess. So since I told you I had no job, I still had to make my half, what's the word for it? Like my half to the rent. I still had to find my way to like, how to say, pay for my medications, get money for the things I need. And I ended up, sounds fucked up, I know, I ended up getting a sugar daddy so I can, how do I say, afford my rent, so I can afford my medications. And he was like trying to blackmail. He was like, I'm gonna like tell everyone. I was like, okay, this is gonna sound fucked up from my side. I got a sugar daddy at the time, just so I can, how do I say, pay my part of rent, just so I can afford my medications. So fucked up, but I guess it was the way I was raised, that when you're in a terrible situation, you just do no matter what, no matter how like morally wrong or anything, to survive. And that was what I did to survive. I ended up, well, selling myself. I never did anything. I never fucked anyone. I never like prostituted myself. But I did like ended up, how do I say, selling my like time, like how do I say, pictures maybe, just so I can survive. And I know to a lot of people that's like wrong, but to me, I was like, that was my situation. That was the only way I could get out of it at the moment. That was the only way I could get any support. So yes, I'm embarrassed him, but that was like wrong. But that was my situation. I didn't see a way out of it. Yeah, so we finally broke up. He tried to blackmail me. So basically what happened, I was in bed and he was like telling me like, well, tell me about the guy that you were cheating on me with. I'm like, I never cheated on you. I did it just for money. I never had any feelings for him at all. I never did it with that intent. And he was like, oh yeah, well, tell me about him. What's his name? Who is he? I'm like, what? I just did it to have money to pay for my stuff, to pay for rent, to pay for food, to pay for my medicines. And he was like, oh yeah. I was like, leave me alone. Leave me alone. He was like, no, I'm not gonna leave you alone. I'm like, leave me alone. He's like, no. I was like, please leave me alone. He's like, no. I was like, fucking leave me alone. He's like, no. Can you like ask normally, please? I'm like, no, fucking leave me alone. He's like, ask normally, please. And I'm like, please leave me alone. He's like, no. I was like, fine, I'll leave myself. He pushes me back into bed. I'm like, what the hell? I get up. He pushes me back in bed. I'm like, what the hell? I get up again. I want to like leave myself because like he's not leaving me alone. He pushes me back in bed. I'm like, what the hell? Like, can you like leave me alone? Like, I don't want to talk to you right now. I'm not in the mental state to talk right now because I was like very depressed that day. And he was like, no, well, tell me about the guy. Tell me about the guy. And I look down and I see he has his phone recording. And I was like, what the hell? That is blackmail. What are you doing? And he's like, no, it's not blackmail. I'm like, you're literally recording me. That's like the definition of blackmail. And I know he was like trying to catch me saying something wrong on the, how do I say, recording. But I was like, whatever. He leaves the room the moment for a bit. He leaves the room for a moment. And as he leaves the room, I don't know why something triggered being pushed around in me. I felt like I was scared for my life. So I immediately run to the door. I lock the door. I quickly pull out the key from my bathroom, lock the door. And I feel like really scared. And I'm like texting anyone possible, like, hey, can I come over to your house? Nobody is free. Like, all my friends are out of the city. I'm like totally fucked. I ask anyone, and finally like Mona, one of my like friends, she's like, okay, I'm not in town myself, but my boyfriend can come pick you up with his friends. I'm like, okay, thank you, because I felt scared. I didn't feel safe in my own house, especially after being pushed around too, and being like yelled at. Like, I did not feel safe at all in my own house. While leaving, I put on the first warm thing I could find in my closet. I put on like a sweater, like a brown sweater, like cardigan, and immediately like I ran out in the house. I felt like very like, how do I say, like scared. I left the house. It was raining outside. I didn't have a jacket. I just had the cardigan that I found in my closet because, well, I couldn't go to the dressing, like, yeah. So the first thing I could find, I run out. And I'm just like outside in the rain. I'm like freezing to death. And one of my friends finally replied. She's like, oh, like you can come over to my house. It's okay. I'm like, okay, thank you. So I come over to her house, think she's an angel, think to her. She's like, it's okay, like you can come over to my house, you can like fall asleep here, like here I made a room for you. Here's like a change of clothes for you. If you need a shower, there's a shower, like anything. She was my lash client, but we became really good friends over the time. She was like coming over to get her lashes done. And how do I say? Yeah, like she helped me a ton because I was like in so much like emotional stress. I was like, how do I say? I feel very embarrassed to admit, but it like really triggered my PTSD. I was like very, how do I say? Um, well, very like scared. I felt like my heart was pounding out of my chest. I felt very depressed. I felt like crying. I was like, I can't believe like I let in a monster into my house. I might sound dramatic, but that was like my thought. I was like, I can't believe I let someone into my house that would hurt me. I can't believe I let someone into my house that would be so cruel to me. I can't believe I let into my house someone that would like push me around or try to blackmail me. This is like, I feel so bad. And that happened. And yeah, basically I told him, because I did not feel safe coming back home, I told him, and that my home is my only home. I have no family or anything. So I told him, if you're not leaving by tomorrow, I'm calling the police. Which was a bluff, but it worked at least. I told him, I'm calling the police if you're not leaving, because I do not feel safe with you in my house. He's like, where am I supposed to go? I'm like, to your mom's house? Your mom is always waiting for you. What do you mean? So that happens. And next day comes, and I'm like very like, how do I say, anxious, but at least I'm at my friend's house. She like, makes me like breakfast, and so she comes with me, and I'm like really scared. What if I open the door and he's still there? Because like he said, like, where is he supposed to go? He's not gonna go anywhere. Thankfully, like, he was gone, but I still felt very scared to be in my house, especially also because he hadn't left his key. So that means he could still come into my house any moment, and that made me feel like really scared. And well, that friend, that the flash client that I had, she like comforted me. She helped me clean my house. She was like, well, you just broke up. Let's make a fresh start. Let's clean your kitchen. Let's clean your bedroom. Let's clean the whole house, deep clean. Continuation of the video like this because my phone was at 5%. Yeah, she helped me clean my house, and basically an angel. Like, I don't know what I would have done if I didn't have her support. So I love her with all my heart, because like I was in such a bad situation. Thank God she helped me. She cleaned my house for me. We cleaned my house together, and she was like, if you need anything, just call. I'm like, okay. First night sleeping alone, it was terrible. I would like wake up screaming. I would wake up every 30 seconds, and I would not be able to sleep because I would constantly wake up like scared. I would wake up like in fight or flight. I don't know how to explain. It feels like you have like electricity jolt all over your like body. It feels like you're being stabbed. Like, it feels like that. How do you say, intense. It feels like you're gonna fucking die. It feels like you're getting a heart attack. It's just terrible. So that I have for like a week straight. Eventually I guess fucked up on my part. I get a hookup just so I can sleep at my own house, because I did not feel safe in my own house. I felt like anytime like he could come over, anytime he could like do something to me, I felt very scared. So I ended up straight up just getting a hookup so I can actually sleep in my own house, because I was like, how do I say, that was the only way I felt safe in my own house. It's fucked up, and like, who the fuck gets a hookup just to feel safe in their own house? But even though it's like unhealthy, like coping, whatever helps you survive, even if self-harm helps you survive, as long as you're surviving, it's fine. rather a friend that survives and like fucking kills themselves, because I felt very suicidal. I was like hallucinating out of my mind. I was constantly like shaking. I was like constantly scared. I was constantly like under adrenaline. I was constantly like fight or flight. I don't know how to explain. Like if I don't know what, it unlocked something in my brain that was like dormant. And yeah, just was a terrible time. Eventually, ended up finding a guy that I liked while going to concerts and like going to my like friends' houses, because I did not want to stay at my own house. I like visited friends a lot. Eventually, I ended up like meeting someone I liked, and somehow, strangely, he like fell for me, which was like very sweet. My current boyfriend, and kind of feels embarrassing to admit, but he's like the reason I'm here right now, because how do I say? I was like, as I said, very like emotionally vulnerable. I was like constantly like shaking. I was constantly like crying. I was constantly like having panic attacks, and my heart is like beating out of my chest, and just constantly anxious. I could not leave my house alone. I always like had to like get a friend to like help me. I had to like get a fucking hookup to sleep because I could not sleep at all. I was like very scared constantly. And yeah, I thought I was gonna be killed. I don't know how to explain. I would always like hallucinate my ex standing next to my door, even though like he's not even here. I don't know, like something in my brain went haywire. And well, I met my current boyfriend, and he met me, and he, how do I say, he basically nursed me back to health. He was like pretty much gentle parenting constantly. He was like, hey, it's okay, I'll make food for you. Oh, you like can't sleep by yourself? It's okay, I'll sleep at your house constantly. I'll just live at your house. That like works for you. Actually, him living at my house was, I'm probably like one of the most grateful things I am for, because I like could not like be left by myself at that time. And like anytime, anywhere I would need to go, I would how do I say, he would like take me there. So he would like take me to work. He would like take me to hospitals. He made sure I signed up for therapy. He made sure I signed up for a psych ward. He made sure I ate well, I drank anything. Just like very kind. Overall, thank God I met my current boyfriend. And yeah, it was like, I guess fine. We broke up with my like ex. I broke up with my ex, and we agreed like not talk about each other. But he saw that I got a new boyfriend. Because of that, he, how do I say, started beefing online. He was like, you can see that she was cheating because she has a new boyfriend so fast. I'm like, what? Bro, just because I have game doesn't mean I have cheated on you. Yeah, love my current boyfriend, literally an angel sent from heaven. I felt like, how do I say, the moment I met him, I felt like God maybe truly did exist, just because he was like so, like perfect, picture perfect, like, and everything I have ever dreamt of. I have always dreamt of someone that would like comfort me. I was always dreamed of someone that would like be kind to me, and like would, how do I say, not make me feel crazy, and like hear me, like listen to me and hear me out and comfort me. Yeah, and he was everything I have ever wanted. So grateful I met him at that time, because I would have been a goner, I think, because I went insane. And yeah, that, and because I was really scared of my ex, because I always thought he was gonna hurt me, I ended up leaving the band too. Even though like I know a lot of fans were like, how do I say, devastated because they loved my singing. It was for me to like get better mentally, because I was like very like, how do I say, scared. I did not want to see my abuser in the same room. It just like fucked up. And yeah, I would just like get like scared. I would have panic attacks after every like band practice. So I was just like, I'd rather just not see him anymore. I'd rather just like leave the band. Also, he refused to, how do I say, to pay his part of the rent for the whole month that he was living here, and that like made me like even more like how to say gave me more difficult time because well, my first salary was like barely like enough to cover rent, not even enough, and I had to like pay his part plus my part, and I could not afford it. I ended up having to, how do I say, to, once again embarrassing, ended up having to go like sell my like nude photos in a modeling agency just so I can, how do I say, afford to pay my rent, afford to eat, which is like embarrassing for me, sure, that I'm like selling my body just to survive, but that was like my issue. And yeah, so I left the band just so I feel mentally better. And what ended up happening was he thought he had some kind of ownership over the band, so as soon as I said I'm leaving the band, he immediately kicked me out of the chats, immediately kicked me out of everything, even though we still had our last concert together, I was still in the band. Immediately kicked me out of everything. He like thought he had ownership over everything. Took me out of the, how do I say, like very petty, took me out of the description under like the Instagram that I'm like the vocalist, like immediately. And he also still like refused to, how do I say, I said, well, I left the band, then like at least like pay me what I'm owed from the band. He was like, no. I'm like, what do you mean no? He's like, no. I was like, but I like played in the band, I made everything, this is like all of my work. He was like, well, when our bassist left, she barely got paid anything either, you didn't want to pay her anything. I'm like, yeah, because we didn't have a single show together. I was like, oh, fine, but under one condition. If you give us all of your like lyrics to the next album, without any, what's the word, copyrights. If you don't give us like all of your lyrics to the next album without any copyrights, we're not gonna pay you. I'm like, okay, fine, I'll like give you the songs. I didn't want to give one song especially because it was about abusers and that's like about him, but he like insisted all of them. And I was like, you know what, fine, I don't care anymore. I don't care anymore. I'm quitting music altogether. I don't want to show my face in the scene anymore, because like what the fuck is this? And like nobody stood up for me, and like not even my drummer stood up for me. My drummer ended up saying shit like, just like relationship drama, that's like, it doesn't concern me. So that was like fucked up, and I don't know, I just felt so, how do I say, humiliated and alone. He also like stole my birthday gift that he gave to me. He also took all my posters, but like it's fine, I have more. Just like took my stuff, but like it's whatever, I don't care as long as like you leave me alone. Just leave my house, I don't care. Whatever, just left the band. I was like, I'm never gonna do music again. I'm quitting completely. Thankfully, another angel, Lama from Schnik, she was like, he can go pick mushrooms. It's like a Latvian word, like Latvian sometimes can't really translate. He can go pick mushrooms. Let's make our own band. And I was like, how do I say, I was like shocked that like people like still want me in music. She was like, no, don't quit music. You have to like let's make our own band. You have to like continue doing music. So we started our own band, and so I'm super grateful. So that's the current band I'm in. And yeah, then last drama. I also have like last 5 minutes to say this. What was really like disgusting that I ended up doing. Okay, like one thing is like, okay, yeah, sure, they still have Riot Girl in their like genres listed under their like band, even though they have a straight up abuser in the band that like, how do I say, emotionally abuses women. was like very sexist. Like that's whatever. I don't care about like the genres. Yeah, like you can keep the genre. But what's more disgusting, they ended up using my songs to win 2 biggest awards in the country. Using my songs, they won. We have the golden microphone in Latvia. They ended up using my songs to win year's best album and like year's best debut album. And second, they were got what was it called? Year's best alternative music or something like that. Like 2 golden microphone awards. That's like, how do I say? Like for Latvians, like music Grammys, yeah, that's like a big award, like one of the biggest awards you can get. And they got 2 of them using my songs. I wrote 17 songs for them, mind you. Like there was like so much of my work. There was my ideologies. It was like my using my backstory. I was like sing about my backstory in those songs, using my like imagery, using my logo, everything that I made for them. They ended up using my songs to win 2 golden microphones, and I didn't even get invited to the ceremony. And I found it really funny how on the TV they're like, and they get asked, oh, like, how did you write those songs? They're like, oh, like, we were just like writing these songs about like punk stuff. I'm like, huh? Oh, that kind of like really pissed me off. And anyways, yeah, that's the whole situation so far. And that was why I left the band. So that was the whole situation. I'm not like the perfect victim, you know, because of that, like, that I was like selling my body, but that's what happened. And I got like a crazy PTSD from that. I don't know why, something went haywire in my brain. Ended up going to the psych ward because of it. Remember I told you I went to psych ward? I didn't specify why, but I went to the psych ward because it like destroyed my brain, the whole situation. I don't know why. I would constantly be shaking, I would constantly be having panic attacks, I would constantly be having flashbacks about that situation. I was constantly having flashbacks about like being bullied by like my ex. I constantly had flashbacks about like everything. And yeah. But finally, I'm safe. I have a loving boyfriend, I have loving friends, I have friends that like me for the way I am, I have loving bandmates that love the stuff I make, and it's just, how do I say, life is slowly going back into the stuff. And as I said, therapy helped me too, so now I don't feel like crying constantly about it, and I can actually move on past it finally. And I just felt like it has been 8 months since I have been, how do I say, stressed about this, and why should they have peace when I felt so much torment? So that was the whole story. I'm not sure if I missed anything. If I missed anything, I'll probably edit the text. So yeah, that's my story. Believe it, not believe it, I don't care, but what matters to me is my story is out there, and so I can finally rest that like my story is out there. Bye.